Commissioners to order, and I would like to welcome all of you in attendance. We have some young smiley faces out here, and I'd love to see you all here and being a part of and learning about our government. So you all are especially welcome. Are there any announcements?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Before we get started, if you'll recall at the last meeting, we approved the recommendations for the change to our pay plan, as well as the premium pay recommendations. And if you'll recall at that time, the primary purpose behind that pay plan was we had tremendous vacancies. We were having extreme difficulty in recruiting, and we were starting to see it take a toll on our ability to be able to retain people as well. We had 47 vacancies at that time. Over 50% of those vacancies were within our public, our emergency services, our public safety, our sheriff's office, and I've asked the sheriff and Warren just to come and give you a brief update tonight on what they've seen just in the last month, just to go to show you how warranted that this was. So with that being said, Warren and Sheriff, if you'd like to share just what you're seeing.
Sure. I'll jump in front of the sheriff. So Derek's correct. Since we look back, and since December 2020 till the end of September, we had 11 resignations. And obviously it's only been a month, but we haven't had any more resignations. So we've stopped the bleeding of employees, at least temporarily for the time being. And we really hadn't had any applications come in. And since the second week of October, we've had 11 applications. We have a fairly lengthy interview process. They have to do a practical exam, a written exam, and they have to take an oral interview. So it takes us a couple of days to get through those. And as of today, 7 of those 11 had actually completed that process. And it looks like we're going to have probably 2 to 3 full-time prospects out of that. We always start them as part-time, get them through their orientation period, make sure they're going to work out, and then we'll do conditional offers of full-time employment after that. So that's been really good for us. And the 911 Communications Center, really, we had 1 full-time opening there. We didn't have any applications there either, and since then, we've had 6 applications there. They have to take a practical exam and an oral interview, and we've had all 6 of those go through that process. So it looks like we've actually, our employee situation looks very much more stable now than it did. And our federal ambulance crew, the contract crew that we've had in, the federal asset, actually got extended through the end of November. So that gives us enough time to get all these folks squared away, and hopefully that'll settle things out by the first of the year.
Awesome. Good news. Well, Sheriff?
I'll be brief. It did what we thought it would do. We hadn't had any applications in quite some time. And since we have been able to announce the pay study and the raises and everything, we've had a substantial amount of applications come in. At the time the pay was adopted, we didn't have any applications. We've got 17 applications right now. For the first time in over 2 years, our patrol unit is completely full with full-time officers. Problem is they still have to go through field training. And so you've got some shifts that are short just because they're with another patrol officer until they get their training in. We have multiple individuals who have reached out to us to let us know that they are interested. They work for other agencies. They live here in Macon County, but they're working in other counties. So we're excited to go through the process with them. The unfortunate thing is when you go through the application process, while we may have 17 applications, it doesn't mean those are 17 qualified individuals. By the time you get done with doing the background check and the polygraph exam, which a lot of times the polygraph exam knocks quite a few people out. But I'm confident, and I want to again thank all of you, 5 commissioners, for adopting that. Just like the county manager talked about, used the analogy of a football game. The pay study got it within the 5-yard line, but the premium pay really put us above. And we felt that without that, it would not have succeeded because you have 2 counties that join us that are making $2,000 more a year than our people were, but that premium pay put them over the top. And as a representative of law enforcement, I just want to tell all of you, thank you again for approving that, because I think it's doing exactly what we thought it would do. And again, to thank the county manager for being a quarterback and taking it forward.
And one of the things we noticed, you know, a lot of people weren't getting applications. We've had at least 2 people that have showed up at our door,
Yeah.
knocked on the door and said they want to talk to us about employment, and we haven't had that. We have not been getting that. So we think we've got this thing turned around, and hopefully things will steady out from now on, and we'll be able to keep this thing stable from now on.
Thanks.
Sheriff, will you remain up front for just a second? Let's all, any further announcements? Let's all rise, observe a moment of silence. Sheriff, I'll ask you to lead us in the pledge tonight.
In the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right.
You have a cell phone, if you mute them right now, it'd be appreciated. Thank you.
Yeah. We have, open up our public hearings tonight. Item 5A, amended and restated Macon County Soil Erosion and Sedimentation Control Ordinance. Just to refresh your memory from our last few meetings, we've been discussing these. We're just updating hours to meet the, Mr. Manager, refresh my memory, actual
Yes, this is.
state law.
Yeah, this is in continuance. We're continuing to bring all our land use ordinance in compliance with General Statute 160D as required by the North Carolina State Legislature. There are no substantive changes to the soil erosion and sedimentation control ordinance other than those to bring it in compliance with 160D. Same thing with the voluntary farmland preservation ordinance. All those changes, again, to remain in compliance with North Carolina General Statute 160D. The Macon County Water Supply Watershed Protection Ordinance, same thing there. Bring it into compliance with 160D. There is one substantive change to the watershed ordinance, and that is simply changing the appeal board from the Watershed Review Board to the Macon County Planning Board. The attorney's thought there is we had too many boards that were handling quasi-judicial appeals. The planning board is set up to handle those quasi-judicial appeals, so this is merely a housekeeping item.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak to the Macon County Soil Erosion and Sedimentation Control Ordinance? Is there anyone that would like to speak to the amended and restated voluntary farmland preservation ordinance? Is there anyone that would like to speak to the amended and restated Macon County Water Supply Watershed Protection Ordinance? Is there any questions from the board? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
Motion to come out of the public hearing, Mr. Chairman.
We're out. Second. All in favor, we're out. We'll get a motion to approve the ordinances. So moved. Changes. We've got a motion by Commissioner Young.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Higdon. All in favor, signify by saying aye and raising your right hand.
Aye.
Thank you. Aye. Thanks, gentlemen. All right, we'll move into the public comment period. Ed Trask. Welcome, Ed. Front and center. First, number one.
Can I get added to the public comment?
I'll give you a chance.
I won't take up a lot of your time. I just want to let the board know that we have settled on 6 people for this committee regarding the White Oak property. Karen Wallace and myself will be representing the library. Sharon Crosby and Heavenly Lehman will be representing the community club. And the 2 representatives at large will be Randy Shook and Don, and I apologize, I can't think of his last name. So the committee seems to be set. What I am asking this evening is for some guidance regarding the committee, regarding the specific purpose of the committee. Are there going to be any bylaws set up for the committee to go by? How will decisions be made? Are they going to be votes by the 6 people? Who will convene the committee and set up and run the meetings? And is there a timeline for making these recommendations to the board? Is there a budget for the project? And we're hopeful that there'll be some written documents and regarding procedures and so on to guide us as the committee to move forward. So I just bring these questions to you and hope to get some guidance from you. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
Have you got those committee names?
Oh, could you read those one more time, Mr. Trask?
I've got them,
Yes.
I can send them to you.
Okay. Myself and Karen Wallace
Uh-huh.
representing the library.
Right.
Sharon Crosby and Heavenly Lehman, and that's spelled Haevenly, Heavenly Lehman. I believe it's Lehman. Randy Shook, and I can't think of Don's last name. Libby, Don
Okay.
Libby. They represent the community at large.
Okay.
Do we need to pass those names out tonight? Do we need to maybe add this to the agenda to approve tonight, these individuals, or do it now?
I mean, if we want to be that formal, I think it's kind of an informal, just go over and make sure that the improvements we make are suitable to everybody's needs. And Commissioner Higdon can certainly speak to it, but I don't foresee this as being it's more of an informal, hey, here's what we're planning on doing. Does anybody have any objections to this? Speak now or forever hold your peace kind of thing. Is that?
You and Jack had done a pretty detailed
Right.
scope of work to bring the building somewhat up to code and safety standards. And I don't know have you seen that? I think the appropriate way to handle it would be y'all just set up a meeting with this committee. This committee is just simply, we want the library represented, community club represented, and then this independent general public was my,
Right.
and I don't think it ought to be a formal thing, or maybe, but could y'all meet with them in the next week or two?
Yeah, we'll be happy to. And Karen, I'll just contact you to set up a time. I've got your contact information, so if you can pass that out to the rest of the committee, Jack and I'll be happy to sit down with them and see what works, what don't, what
Go
needs
over
to
and do a walkabout
Absolutely, we'll be happy to.
and move forward.
We'll report back in December.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Susan Carpenter?
Gentlemen, I live in the Nantahala community. It is my opinion that the Nantahala Community Library should remain at the school campus. Ever since I was a child, a library held information that was mine for my use. Whether a bookmobile, local library, large city, or college library. My mom would take me to the bookmobile for my reads. In high school, we didn't have a research library, but a city library was in a central location to do any reports. College kicked up learning a notch. The stacks became a second home, and years of library work helped me use them. School and library are one and the same, and in our remote location, it is ever more important for them to remain together. Any question? No? Thank you.
All right. Jennifer Barrett Tatum? Is that correct, Tatum?
Hello. I have some items to which I will be referring. Is there a way to? No.
Be happy to.
Thank you so much. Hello again. Nice to see you all. Thank you again for hearing us this evening. I am here to speak again about the animal protection proposal that's been put forth as part of the Board of Health agenda that's been moving on. I know that it's been worked on over the last several months. Thank you for that work. Some of the things that I was hoping to talk about this evening included the definitions that we're using in terms of being adequate. What is adequate food, adequate water? Those things are already in Article 47 of the North Carolina statutes. And so I don't have access to the exact wording of the proposal, but I'm hoping that we are using some of the terms in which the North Carolina statute is already defining these. They talk about them in terms of locations such as shelters or other things that shelter, keep, and house animals. But the actual state law doesn't have it for what an individual should supply in terms of adequate. So I question, why would an individual's ownership and definition of adequate be any different than that of a shelter or another place that's keeping an animal? So I have those definitions that the statute proposes there. The other thing that's been discussed is reporting animal cruelty and whether or not that can be anonymous. So my last talk with you all was about the anonymity of that for the safety of the person who is reporting, seeing how there have been instances where that safety has been in jeopardy at times. It is not a North Carolina statute that it has to be anonymous. If you are reporting it to the state directly, it cannot be anonymous, but the state itself does not investigate or prosecute for animal cruelty. They then turn around and report it to the local jurisdiction in which your name and information needs to transfer as well. In Jackson County, they accept anonymous calls. In Haywood County, they accept anonymous calls and report. You do not have to give your name, your phone number, or your address to report animal cruelty to protect those reporting. And finally, I know that there's been some difficulty with Macon County. We have reports, we go out, sometimes there are unsafe conditions or issues of neglect with animals. We provide notices, we sometimes give them the repeat notices that they need to take care of things, and there's not a lot of ability for the county to then do things to help support that. You know, we give them the time and then we check again. So I just pulled out some of the things that we have in that same Article 47 statute that talks about how within the state of North Carolina, all local and state powers do have the ability to prosecute for the following items. I won't go over those items because they're here in your papers. So I know that we do have the rights to do this as a county, and I hope that those rights are being considered when we put forth the proposal. The last item I had was wondering about the proposal's reduction from 10 wait days to 7 wait days. That was not on the original proposal that was put forth. I was here that evening. I had a copy of it. So I'm not really sure how that reads. Do any of you?
I think, Mr. Chairman, I think the Health Board has been working through these changes. So we haven't received anything back from the Health Board regarding these changes, so we're not really in a position to speak to them at this time.
All right, thank you. I was just curious if the 10 to 7 days was a reduction in the amount of days before the animals were adoptable, which would be great because then they would be adopted. But I was just checking to see whether or not it was a difference in the difference between 10 days to 7 days to whether or not the animal could be euthanized, in which case there's the whole idea of like business days versus regular days because the facilities are closed on weekends, making it more difficult. I will say that I did write a letter to the board last month in which I mentioned that in social media that the pictures of the animals had not really been posted over the last several months, very few times over the last year. And since then, I have noticed that almost on a weekly basis, the Macon County Animal is posting the animals for adoption. So I don't know if that made it through you all, but it is happening and we are greatly appreciative for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, and do we think that that might come next month, the proposal?
I'll have to speak with the health director on that. I don't know, I hadn't had an update on that particular item, but I will find out.
Okay,
And if you write your email address down, I'd be happy to get back with you.
that would be wonderful. Thank you. Thank you again.
Robin?
Hi. You can probably feel my heart beating through the microphone. I do not speak well in front of people, so please excuse me. I'm going to have to read what was on my mind. And I'm kind of following in Jennifer's direction here. I just going to have to read it to you because I can't.
It's okay.
If I pass out, just roll me to the side.
I'll catch it.
We got you. You're doing good.
Thank you. Time is precious. I cannot explain enough just how much I mean that, so I'll attempt to keep my sentiment short-ish. I know you have other items to address. It has been said that during these meetings, you may not be a big fan of emotions, just facts. While I'm simply a resident and not as knowledgeable as the board on certain issues, I'll present to you today a little more emotion than facts. Please forgive me and roll me to the side. I thank you kindly for allowing us an opportunity to speak on behalf of those who cannot. Of course, I'm referring to the homeless and/or lost animals within Macon County. Now my knees are knocking, so you can probably hear that too. Doing so means a great deal to many, I promise you. And not to sound too dramatic, but truly hearing us might even mean life or death, joy or sorrow. Macon County Animal Services, in my opinion, as well as the opinion of many others, is in need of some improvements, and quickly. Most importantly, the time frame an animal is kept from intake to possession by an adoption facility or until euthanization is horrifyingly short. And I'm asking why. If this process is due to a monetary issue, the lack of staffing, room in the building, or some other reason, then please advise the facility to reach out to us, the public, to help. We can fundraise, we can volunteer, we can pray, but we need transparency into the facility in order to be of adequate help. We need and want to know exactly how we can help. I urge Macon County Animal Services to trust the community to assist in the well-being of the animals they so briefly house. We are blessed by an amazing number of animal lovers in our county who would be more than happy to offer assistance. If you hear of only one story about an animal saved after having been sent to Macon County Animal Services, let it be this one, and I'm not going to cry. I don't think. Our latest rescue was, indeed, found on the street and taken to Animal Services. ARC came to pick her up before she was euthanized, and she remained with them for almost a year. A lovely local foster dog mom took her in and posted the sweet pup's photo and need for a family on social media, where I first saw and immediately fell in love with her. After showing my husband and 2 boys her pictures, they too fell head over heels. Soon after that, we met this precious pooch a few times before adopting her into our family. She has special needs, not medical, but emotional. She's extremely timid, scared of absolutely everything. Seriously, even the floor seems to petrify her, and shadows, a whole other nightmare. We're fairly certain she doesn't even know she's a dog. She may, in fact, believe she's a princess. We're still working on that one. She's never once barked, and we've never heard her voice, but her big brown eyes tell us all we really need to know, that she feels safe and loved now. Our oldest son also has special needs. He's autistic and is a heart transplant patient since the age of only 3 weeks. He's now 14 years old. Every day with him is an immense blessing, as tomorrow is never promised. Each and everything on earth that brings him joy is also a blessing, including this silly, goofy, beautiful dog that we have brought into our lives. They have an unexplainable bond, a bond our oldest so desperately needs, as does she. I am so very grateful for it. And while a few of her anxieties still exist, our son has been able to somehow teach her to trust, to allow us to love her, and we do so much. Our youngest son, my husband, myself, and our other dogs all have our own cherished bonds with her. While we will probably never know just what she endured before she was brought to Animal Services, we have vowed to make the rest of her life as special as we can. She deserves that. All rescues do. We are put on earth to help take care of each other, and this includes all of God's creations, does it not? It is my sincere hope that many other families will be able to share stories of their own journeys with rescued animals they were able to save. But in order for this to happen, Animal Services needs to remain faithful to their promise to, and I quote, make every effort to promote pet adoptions, as their mission states. Please mandate Animal Services to extend the amount of time an animal stays at the facility before being euthanized. I am begging you. It is with all of my heart that I thank you for your time in this matter, which means so much to so many. And I did not pass out.
Robin, can I ask you a question?
So,
So I think I'm the only board member left when we started the animal control. And we found out a long time ago, it's not an animal services problem. It's not a dog problem, it's a people problem. What would you suggest about that? It's not, it's the people that should be responsible for their own dogs, right?
absolutely.
So what are you suggesting there?
My suggestion is, I would need to know more. I would need to know why are we, there used to be a 10-day period, to my knowledge. And now we're looking to decrease that to a 7-day period. Well, what if, your neighbors go on vacation and, you're left to check after their dogs, their house while they're gone. They're gone for a week.
That's the case.
The dog gets out, and then before they come back, the dog's been euthanized.
Have you ever known of a case of that happening?
It could, if there's only a 7-day period where
The reason
a
it's
dog can
7-day
be found and
period
then
is because of
euthanized.
space.
So,
Because it's a people problem and there's so much, and there's no space to keep them.
so what can we do? That's why I'm asking,
We need a better education program maybe for the public, you think?
What about this-
Instead of euthanize, just to have that animal spayed or neutered?
I think that is being done more often than not, than it used to be. I think that there are more now,
But not enough.
but not enough. But if space is an issue, then what can we do? There are so many animal lovers here. We're willing to help, but we don't know what to do. And it's so sad, story after story, and all these animals being brought in, cats, dogs. I am pro-dog, I'm not anti-cat.
But it's still a people problem. You agree?
Absolutely. What can we do? I don't have an answer.
When we built that thing, we said, well, we'll build it bigger than we ever think we'll need. And it's sort of like the jail. What's going to be big enough?
Sir,
I
I'm
mean, if we hire
retired
more
from,
people, I mean, it's going to be, we knew when we started this program, it was going to be an ongoing, growing problem, and it has become that. The sheriff started his career there 30 years ago, and he'll tell you that now. That it continues to grow. We could build one, multiple stories, it would be full again. So we don't have the answer, and that's the reason people like you that's involved in the community, if you've got suggestions about if the county could sponsor more spay or neuter programs, I think that's one of the people we've got to go to.
well, then we need direction, because we're ready to help. We
Bring
just
us a
don't know what to
suggestion.
do.
Bring a suggestion.
Not working there, and it kills me that I can't volunteer because of my son. We are such germaphobes because we have to be, because a simple cold can land him in the hospital with his immune system. So I can't volunteer at the places I want to volunteer. I can't be in there to see exactly how things happen. So
But you're here.
and I didn't
That means
pass
a lot.
out yet. So
We're glad that people like, in the community that has a concern of this. And believe me, everyone on this board's had that conversation. And we all agree that it's a people problem. And so it's a problem in every community, not just ours.
Oh, I know that.
And so if we're going to address something, we could address that. That would be a whole lot more logical and cheaper on the taxpayer than building if we build a shelter of 40,000 feet, it would be full.
I'm only
So I don't know.
I'm only one person.
It's a hard subject.
If so many others could maybe talk about it and get it out there in the open, maybe somebody can come up with something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a people
Well, there's a
problem.
fleet out there There'll be a story written about it. So it's a start. gotta
That's
start
what we
somewhere.
need to do, start somewhere. All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Robin.
Let me ask a question
Yeah.
related to that. How does the Humane Society, and the Animal Control, how do they interact?
To my knowledge, not.
I know that,
Yeah, then your next speaker is so much better than I was.
Pardon?
Your next speaker is so much better than I was.
You did
So
it.
she-
You did great.
You did great, Robin.
You got the wheelbarrow? Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, excuse me if I get this wrong, but I'll do my best. Is it Karen or Carrion? How do you pronounce it? How do you pronounce it?
Carrying,
Carrion.
carrying,
Okay.
yeah.
I was almost there.
Almost, that's close enough. My name is Carrie Queso Andrews, and I'm on the board of Appalachian Animal Rescue Center, and pretty busy volunteer over there. I coordinate a dog walking program. We walk the shelter dogs 3 times a week. Someone had a question about the relationship between ARC and Macon County Animal Services. What was your question, sir? Was it?
How do they interact, or do they?
Oh, yes, very much. We have a very close working relationship. Basically, whenever we have room at Appalachian Animal Rescue Center, we bring dogs over from Macon County Animal Services and then adopt them out. We sometimes get the heads up when it's thought that it's through the grapevine that a dog might be euthanized. And we hurry to bring that dog over whenever possible when we have space. Well, I don't know when we've ever failed to do that. Often these dogs that are slated for euthanization are completely good dogs. It's just the limitations of Macon County Animal Services. I agree that the amount of dogs in the Macon County Animal Services is a people problem. I agree with that wholeheartedly. However, and this is another conversation, they sure could be better treated while they're there. The conditions are awful, and Dr. Villiard has no idea of the dogs in his care or what's going on, nor does he seem to care. But again, that's another conversation. All I wanted to do tonight is to piggyback onto Jennifer's statement about protecting people who report abuse and neglect. I propose that Macon County Animal Services protect the identity of citizens who call and report incidences of animal abuse. Oftentimes, the person who makes the report will be known to the pet owner. It may be made by someone in the owner's family or by a neighbor. It's well documented that people who abuse animals are more likely to be abusive toward other people. Providing the identity of the person who reported the abuse can set the stage for backlash and retaliation. With anonymous reporting, people feel safer and will be more likely to report. This is valuable because abuse and neglect are too often hidden from view. There can be no credible explanation for providing the name of a person, one who has done their civic and moral duty to an alleged animal abuser. The purpose of Section 90-24 in Macon County Animal Ordinances protects Macon County Animal Services from the burden of false reports or frivolous complaints. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have 2 agencies that deal with animals. I've never figured out why, but
And they are
they're separate. You're,
Macon County Animal,
Yeah.
and us.
yes, and you're doing it strictly off of donations.
Oh, yes, we have no
Because-
government funding, no funding from the Humane Society of the United States. All of our money comes from grants and donations.
And you don't euthanize,
No, we are a no-kill society.
and you keep feeding these cats and dogs forever.
We will keep them until they're adopted, transported to another region. That's it. We have to transport animals to other regions of the country that have better animal protections and laws. Basically, they have spay-neuter laws. So we spend a lot of money transporting animals to other regions of the country where they have a dearth of adoptable animals, which is amazing to think of. New Jersey is one place that we will send animals to. And they actually don't have enough adoptable dogs to meet the community needs. Wow.
When you send a dog out for adoption, is it spay or neuter?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're part of the solution.
And your agency funds all of that.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. We have a contract with Humane Alliance, which is part of the ASPCA, I believe. And they help us by providing low-cost spay and neuter that we turn around and offer to people in the community and use for our own dogs.
That may be a place we start, is trying to coordinate, get these two agencies. I don't know how y'all do it. I've visited the facility out there a couple of times, and stacks of dog food and cat food, and I was amazed that was all private donations. And the volunteers, I mean, y'all got a list of volunteers. It's amazing.
Yeah, we have robust community support, a lot of that through Facebook. We have a lot of people in this community that help us keep our doors open every day.
It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, thank you. Karen Wallace?
Good evening. Thanks for allowing me to speak this evening. Wanted to take a little time to highlight the staff of the Macon County Public Library, the Hudson Library, and the Nantahala Community Library. I want to make sure that people understand our employees are not county employees, but they still deliver valuable service to the people of Macon County. 20,000 people in Macon County have library cards that have been used within the past 3 years. So it's pretty clear that the people of Macon County value their library services. It's a place where individuals and groups connect to things that are important and necessary to them. Library staff are essential in helping Macon County citizens and residents access and use the things they need. I've just been listening to the Appalachian Animal Rescue talk about their needs and the things that they are doing. And I want you to know we partnered with them this summer to help educate children and families about the importance of animal care and adopting animals from their facility. Filing your taxes. Everybody's got to do it. This year, we worked with AARP to help hundreds of people get their taxes filed. Last month, we worked with local media to host a candidate forum for town council elections. You know all those Zoom meetings that happen? Well, if you don't have a space or Wi-Fi to do that yourself at your home, where might you go? You go to the library. We have rooms that people can use, so they've got a little privacy, and we've got Wi-Fi for their computers to connect to. We had a law student take his bar exam just a couple of months ago using our facility and our Wi-Fi to do his exams. We worked with NC Works to do a drive-through job fair last year when people couldn't come inside easily. We've worked really hard to connect people to the internet. It's great if you've got internet service yourself at home, but when students and teachers had to do virtual learning, it provided a lot of challenges. We were able to get a grant to provide hotspots to students, both with Macon County Schools and SEC, and the response was excellent. One of our libraries, our library in Highlands, noted that when they contacted the families in Highlands who qualified for student hotspots, all of them came in the same day to pick them up. So it's clear they were eager to get their hands on them. A GED instructor with SEC noted, I can say that many students would not be able to complete their classwork and obtain their degrees if it weren't for these hotspots. Now our staff is working with seniors to connect them to the internet. We're working with Southwest Commission's Area Agency on Aging and the Macon County Senior Center to identify seniors who would like to have a hotspot, a Chromebook, and the help to get online. Lots of barriers exist for somebody who's not been on the internet before. Imagine if you'd never been on the internet, how difficult that might be. A grant has allowed us to buy the equipment and the service and the help from our staff to be able to assist that connection. We have Wi-Fi at the library that's available 24/7. So it's available to people whether the library is open or not. And that's really important to people who have schedules that maybe don't fit with the library's schedule. Last year, we had over 120,000 internet sessions used. Comment from one of those users was, I just have to tell you how much I've appreciated having access to your Wi-Fi. I live in a neighborhood where the internet goes down a lot, and I teach math classes, so I've been teaching those classes from your parking lot, and we all just really appreciate it so much. Thank you. We provide student access to the library. They don't even have, students in Macon County don't have to get a separate library card. They get access to the library and its resources just by using their lunch number. They can access physical material, they can access digital material. During the pandemic, our usage, we've seen our student usage of digital ebooks and e-audiobooks quadruple. It went from 3,400 uses in fiscal year 1920 to 12,816 uses in fiscal year 2021. Adults, too, have doubled their use of digital resources. But many people don't want to use digital resources. They want to come into the library and they want to feel the book and touch the book. But during COVID, a lot of people were really reluctant to come in the library. So we did curbside pickup for them. We would take materials out to their car for them to pick up so that we could minimize the risk to the people of Macon County. We have drop boxes for returns so they didn't have to come in if they didn't want to. We developed activity bags for students with curriculum-based hands-on activities. We even addressed food insecurity at our Nantahala library. Our staff worked with Farmers to Families to bring food boxes to community members. Our staff worked with Macon County Schools to get daily lunches for kids all summer long. We did some activities outdoors we have a garden for kids. We have a pollinator garden. We have bird feeding stations. We put in a weather station. We've got lots of activities for outside. We've worked with VIA to provide educational workshops for mental health topics. Those include anxiety and depression, dementia, mental health medications, suicide indicators, response and prevention. And these are essential topics anytime, but especially during COVID. And just last month, the library hosted representatives from the Mexican consulate for 2 days. We worked with a local group, El Centro Comunitario of Macon County, a volunteer group in the Franklin area that's dedicated to meeting the needs of Hispanics in our community. They provided passport services, identification cards, dual citizenship. They provided COVID vaccines. We saw over 900 people in a 2-day period using the library and the staff to assist. We know that the staff at the Macon County Library is essential to the people of Macon County, and I want to bring recognition to those employees who work so hard to serve the people of Macon County. Thank you.
Does anyone Anyone else would like to address the board? Come on up. Give us your
My
name.
name is Tracy Dogan, and the reason why so many people spoke today about the animal control issues is because last time I was here, I was told that once the Board of Health submits their proposal, the county commissioner meeting after that was the time to address my opposition to any of their proposals. Now, that I was at the Board of Health meeting last month, and they told me that they weren't going to make any more changes to the proposals that the committee made, and they were submitting it to you so that, I should be at this meeting. Now, I know it's not on the website agenda, but I didn't want to miss my window of opportunity to address that I'm opposed to their proposed amendments because it has nothing to do with what I was originally trying to amend back in February. I was told by Mr. Villard if we made the amendments more specific as to describing what is good shelter, what is good food and water, then they could do more to help the animal. And then since then, he's taken that back and said, no, that's not true. And so I don't know if it's premature. I made a package, speaking of suggestions on how to take care of the people problem with animal control is, I have a lot of suggestions for that in this packet. And one is if the county could appoint a committee just for animal control, because it's very clear at the Board of Health, who is now written up in the ordinances as in charge of animal control, has no time for it. They are overwhelmed with COVID issues. And that committee they formed, only one person on that committee who had to be board members actually worked on the amendments, and that was Mr. Villard, and he did not address any of the issues spoke about as the committee was formed. And so I think I know people in the community, professionals that would serve on this committee and make recommendations. And I think that's a better way to approach it. And I brought the original amendments. They're underlined in these packets. The underlined part is the amendment part, and then the ununderlined is what our ordinances say right now. And also, I sent over to the Board of Health a statement from a retired judge saying that the way our ordinances read right now, that reports can be anonymous. And Mr. Villard completely ignored that and is maintaining that they cannot be anonymous. And this is a big problem. We will not be able to find these backyard animals being, under cruel conditions and suffering without anonymous reporting. And so I'm bringing it up today. I guess, that it's going to be next month's meeting that you'll have the Board of Health suggestions. And I want to put my input in now. Like I said, I don't want to miss my window of opportunity to argue those proposals. And I don't know whether I should give you this today or next month. But it outlines everything that's been going on.
When you've obviously saw our agenda online, so what'll happen is when the health board is ready to send that to the commissioners, they'll submit it, and it'll be posted on our agenda in advance of our meeting.
Okay.
So.
See, I didn't know that, and like I
there.
said, I just didn't want it to slip by.
Right.
And, like I said, I also proposed some ideas about the people part of helping animal control.
And did you submitted those, you say, to the health board?
I did prior to their last proposal, but like I said, nobody, when it came time for the committee to write up their proposals, nobody had done anything with it except for Mr. Villard. So Mr. Villard did not see any point in making any changes and added some of his own amendments that have nothing to do with animal care. And so that's what you should have got before tonight. And that's what they told me they were going to give you. And that's why we're all here tonight. So I can give you 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can give you 6 of these packets. I also have some pictures of animals who are starving literally to death. And animal control went out there and said there's nothing they can do. And I've had a vet examine one of these horses, and it was almost dead. So I find their service is lacking a lot. So we do need either new blood in there, more amendments so that, these rules can be enforced. And education is a big part of that. And I know people who are willing to, veterinarians, large animal vets and veterinarians that would donate time to educating the public. And a long time ago, I actually made a proposal that we could educate people on the care of whatever kind of animal they're adopting online, and that became, by the wayside, but I can bring that up again too. So.
Thank you, Tracy.
You're welcome. So I'm going to hand these to you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, anybody else like to address the board?
Commissioner Bailey, I'd like to make one announcement, then we get to number 8. I'd like to.
Sure.
This Thursday, we have our Veterans Day program here on Square. And the parade starts at 10:30. And welcome to all. The Veterans program coming this Thursday. And the parade starts at 10:30 at the town hall. We appreciate you coming and joining in with us.
Very good. Thank you. Should we pass that in? All right, any additions to the agenda?
I need to make an adjustment.
Okay.
11A, under new business. I'd like to retract that.
Okay.
Due to a facilities review committee meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
That will involve our, Mr. Bonnie, our architect, LS3P.
Okay.
We need to add under new business 11D. We need to just get the board to sign off on a public notice for the amended and restated flood ordinance and the amended and restated high impact land use ordinance to bring them into compliance with 160D.
And to schedule public hearings on those for the December meeting. And Mr. Chairman, also, we need to have another couple of public hearings in December on the proposed subleases for space on the communications tower at Cowie Bald, one to Sutton Broadcasting and the other to Blue Ridge Broadcasting Corporation.
Okay, anything else?
If we could also add a closed session to preserve the attorney-client privilege. Our attorney will be joining us by phone.
Okay. Anything else? All right, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Young, second by Commissioner Shields, all in favor? Aye. All right, reports, presentations, update on Via Health Regional Advisory Board. Welcome, Shelley.
Thank you. And I'm a little bit challenged. I come in between helping animals and the 4-H behind me, so I'll try to be brief. I thought maybe they came to hear this, but anyway. So again, I'm Shelley Foreman. I am the Community Relations Regional Director for Via Health. Via Health is a public agency overseen by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, and we manage both Medicaid and state funding allocated through the General Assembly for people with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities. So I always like to start by thanking Commissioner Beal. He's been our longtime board member, county commissioner, advisory board member appointed by you, and a longtime supporter of Via Health. So thank you, and feel free. Commissioner Beal was one of the people on our board of directors sort of instrumental in developing this proposal, so feel free to help me with the presentation. So I know the last time I was here, I came to talk with you a little bit about the changes in how Medicaid was managed in the state of North Carolina. And as part of that, Via Health will become what is called a tailored plan. And many of the people with more mild to moderate mental health or substance use disabilities are now being managed by one of the 4 insurance companies that the state is contracting with. And so while we have a smaller population, we have more responsibility because we will be managing not only the behavioral health needs or developmental disability needs, but their pharmacy needs, their physical health needs, and helping them access a whole variety of resources. So the reason that is important is because it does sort of reflect why Via Health decided to begin talking with Cardinal Innovations, which is another public agency that has had served counties in the sort of western central part of the state and doing the same thing we do. They have been facing some challenges and had counties that were disengaging. And they came to Via, I guess, in the summer and asked if we would be willing to consolidate and bring in some of the Cardinal counties under Via Health. And so that work has been going on. The first map you see just shows you sort of an overview of the counties that Via is now serving. If yours is in color, we're all the blue counties, and then it just sort of lists the other LME MCOs like Via across the state. So what that means, pardon? Oh, well, I'll bring some next time. I'm sorry. I'll hand you mine over when we're done. So what that means is that 9 of the counties that were previously under Cardinal or are under Cardinal will be coming to Via as of January 1st. So we are growing from a 22-county managed care organization to a 31-county managed care organization. And if you look at the geography of that, it's pretty daunting. And so one of the things our board of directors really looked at is how we could grow in size to have more people in our plan, but also be really responsive to our local communities and maintain that. So what the board of directors proposed and what our county commissioner advisory board council approved, which is made up of the 22 counties that Via currently serves, is that we look at establishing 4 regions in the revised VIA catchment area. So if you will look, the 7 western counties, including, of course, wonderful Macon County, is in Region 1. And then there's 3 other regions, which would include our current counties, and then Region 4, which would include the additional cardinal counties. So instead of just having the County Commissioner Advisory Board, which is mandated by law, the Secretary has approved that we could revise that structure as well as our board structure to accommodate this proposal. So what we're asking you to look at is we are creating a regional board. Region 1, again, is the 7 western counties. We would be asking you, as a county board of commissioner, to appoint or reappoint your county commissioner advisory board member, which is, again, Commissioner Beal. And then, instead of just having one commissioner, we're asking for a second appointment from this board. Now, you're asking, who could that be? Because we want to maintain our relationship with you as a local government, that could be another commissioner, if another commissioner is interested. It could be your county manager, if your county manager is interested. Or it could be one of your key health or human service agencies. So your DSS director, it could be your health director, or your sheriff. And we wanted to keep it very close because they would have that relationship with you as county government. Once these 4 regional boards are formed, again, in our region, it would be 14 members, 2 from each county. That regional board would form, and they would elect 2 of their members to serve on the VIA Health Board. So each of the 4 regions would elect 2 of their members to serve on the VIA Health Board. Additionally, we would have 4 directors from our Consumer and Family Advisory Council, which are people with lived experience. Currently, there's a director from Health and Human Services, and that is Paige Lamel, who is a commissioner from Transylvania. And then we would have up to 8 at-large board members, which our board and speaking with our regional boards would appoint. So those would be at-large seats. And then we would have several non-voting members to bring in expertise in a variety of areas across the state. So why I'm coming to you tonight is just to say we would love if you could, and I think it's later in your agenda, our goal would be to have our regional boards appointed by each of the December meetings. I know December is usually an organizational meeting for Board of Commissioner meetings, or sooner, so that we could be organized and meet as a region in January. These groups would need to meet at least quarterly. They could meet more often if they would like. The location would be of their choosing. It could be rotating. It could be in a central location. The time would be of their choosing. I will staff the Region 1 board, the 7 western counties, along with, we'll have administrative support that would allow for taking minutes, notifications, making sure public notices are used and that type of thing. So I know I went through that very quickly, and I'm sure you've seen the materials, but if you have questions, again, we really value the responsiveness we think that we'll have with the regional boards. We think we'll have much more opportunity to talk about the service system, and it will be a lot more effective than having 31 commissioners sort of come together to talk about needs from, halfway across the state.
And let me just add, that's the reason a lot of us work a lot of long hours to come up with this, and we have traveled to all 31 counties and presented this. So, but the whole object behind it was communication. There's a lot of commissioners in our area on every board that really don't understand how an LME works or how it can better benefit the area. So Brian Shuping at VIA, who is over the community folks from VIA, each region will have a VIA rep at their meeting. And our goal is to have 7 county commissioners, 7 people who's familiar with law enforcement. If Robbie sees somebody that he thinks would be better served than him, that he has that deals with mental health, fine. So that was the reason that we come up with the regional boards. Now, when they go to the governing board,
Mm-hmm.
they will be recommended by the regional board. 2 people will be recommended from that regional board to the governing board. And not to, and when you say governing, that's probably not a good word, because this whole idea came from communication and better communication from county, especially our rural counties. If you look at all those 4 regions, you will notice that out of those, all those counties, all of them are rural, but 2.
Right.
So we have 29 rural counties that are still struggling today with mental health choices and mental health and where to go and what to do. So if you have a problem or whatever with providers, this is going to be an opportunity that they can really get. And it will go straight to the governing board. So I just want this board to understand that was the whole purpose. Not to necessarily replace the board, to say we have a great board and wonderful people, but we need to have more local input.
Yeah.
And that was the whole idea behind this, and hopefully this board will embrace that, and it is so vitally important to our, right now, we have our DSS director, Patrick Bettencourt, sits on that board, as does Mike Norris from Macon County as an insurance expert, who really adds a lot to the board. It's my hope that Mike can get appointed in one of the 8 slots. And so does Patrick Bettencourt, brings people that are involved can bring a whole different light when it comes to this part of the population, that everybody, and it affects every family in this room, every family in this county. It's just a matter of how far you look.
Right.
It affects everything.
Right.
Mental health and substance abuse. So, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the time, and Shelley does a wonderful job of communicating to the region. I have talked to all other 6 boards, and they're all, some of them have already appointed. Cherokee County has.
Yeah, actually Cherokee made their appointments the Monday before last. I will just, again, mention it not only, I think it expands representation, will be a much more dynamic process by focusing on our region. And again, as I thank Commissioner Beal, I have to say that Mr. Bettencourt has been a wonderful member of our board of directors, and I've got to work with him a lot lately on a lot of DSS initiatives we're working on. So thank you for your service.
So if any questions this board may have on how this is going to operate, the timeline is fairly short. This board needs to be seated, the new governing board needs to be, if at all possible, Mr. Chairman, seated in January. So, because there's some things coming down there's always some kind of change coming down the pike for the HHS, and we try to keep in front of those. And so, if there any questions, Mr. Chairman, we'll try to answer.
Patrick, do you mind serving if the board appoints you? Do you mind serving if the board appoints you?
No, sir, I'm at the pleasure of the board.
I think it's a given, if Patrick and Commissioner Bell will agree to serve, we take a motion for that. Got a motion by Commissioner Young. Second by Commissioner Shields, all in favor?
Aye.
I thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good job.
Report from 4-H, Tamara Cole-Talley, welcome. North Carolina Cooperative Extension 4-H and Youth Development Agent.
I would like to let a more interesting group here come forward and speak on 4-H's behalf, if that's all right.
Well, welcome, everyone. I don't hear any bees knocking.
Hello, everybody.
Jake, you use this group?
Actually, I might want to get behind you and get the right photo here.
You be the 4-H leader?
I'm Lily. I am Marco.
Come on up a little bit, kids. Some of these people are older, they can't hear you.
My name's Wesley Merritt.
I'm sorry?
Wesley Merritt.
Wesley.
My name's Charlie Merritt, and I participated in 4-H for almost a year.
My name is Rowden Angel. I'm 13, and I have been with, I am part of the marksman.
Hi, my name is Matthew. We are here to represent Macon County 4-H. I would like to tell you that there are a little over 100 4-H members in Macon County. and 11 adult volunteers. We are here to tell you that I got our team going to the state 4-H shooting tournament last month.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Can I go?
Go ahead,
Okay.
baby.
Good evening. My name is Lily Powell. I am a member of the Macon County 4-H and have been for 4 years. I am currently in 8th grade and I have participated in many 4-H activities, including cooking, crafting, gardening, and my favorite, which is archery. We all have won the state competition this year, first place, and some of us have done shooting sports. Also, the junior recurve team, which is what we are, and the junior rifle. They won first. Junior rifle run third place in regionals, and junior recurve won first place in regionals. And Matthew has had the highest score in regionals and the second highest in the state all over. 4-H has taught all of us, not just me, to have confidence in each other, to work with others, to help each other, to help the community. Also, to have pride in working and in the community and accomplishments. We wanted to say thank you to the coaches, mentors, and all of our 4-Hers to help and make 4-H possible. Anybody else have anything to say?
Good job. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for being
Thank
here.
you too.
Hey, so hold on just a minute.
Yeah.
So I want to talk to you for a minute. So back when I was in 4-H, we didn't have the archery club and the marksman club. I did get to show sheep, which was pretty fun. But my favorite, they used to have a greased pole climb. Now, does anybody know what that is? You take a pole about as high as the ceiling, metal, and they put grease, like Crisco, on this pole, right? They'd put $10 on top, and whoever could get it won. And me and my brothers and sisters, we would. But anyways, I had some really good memories at 4-H. Look, I spent a lot of time there. We showed sheep, we got dirty, and I'm glad you guys are a part of that. So thank you.
Thank you to your parents. They're back here too. I see.
This county is liaison to the extension service, which includes 4-H. I think Tamara, Chris, if Tamara would come forward, where's she hiding at? Of course, 4-H stands for Head, Heart, Hands, and Health. Head, Heart, Hands, and Health. And I just want to say a word about Tamara, Chris, and the 4-Hers. You heard the number. 4-H is still doing good things for young people. And it's alive and well. When we go to Raleigh, several times, Franklin, Macon County is always represented at the 4-H conference. And we're very proud of our 4-Hers and what you kids are, not what you're doing now, but what you're going to do in the future, which will be great. So we're proud of you. Now tell me one more time, Matthew, what was you good at? What did you do?
At the state level.
At the state level?
Junior recurve, and you play.
I did junior recurve and
Shooting a recurve bow.
He did second overall. No, he got first overall at state, second overall at state, first overall at regional.
Yes.
I got those numbers.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Tamara. And thank you for the job you do, Tamara. A lot of people don't know what Tamara, the time she puts in with these kids. She not only helps with 4-H, she keeps up with these kids. I know that for a fact.
She works very hard.
Is Tamara pretty good too? I bet she is. So thank you, Tamara.
A great group of volunteers. Our volunteers jump through a lot of hoops with background checks and training and to be high quality instructors. They all have specialized skills that they want to share with kids, and they jump through a lot of hoops to be able to work with our kids, and we're proud of that level of quality that they bring. So.
I'm proud of you. Maybe Commissioner Young will bring that poll up there. I'd like to see that. That's fine.
It used to be here on July the 4th, and they put a watch on top of the pole, right in front of the old courthouse, and you'd have to wrap yourself in sand, water and sand, and try to climb up the pole. Then when you got about where you couldn't make it to the top, you take your shirt off, And you take that shirt and knock that watch
You
off.
know what? You understand the struggles.
I do, I do.
It was 3H back then. They left out help. Thank you, kids.
Thank y'all.
Tamara, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank
job.
you.
Good job.
Very good.
Thank you to your parents.
With your permission, we're gonna go ahead and go home and eat supper and do homework and.
No way.
And get ready for.
Homework? Say, Clark.
I promise. Ain't nobody gonna say that. Have you got people on there?
Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Shields, we got the permits, we got everything, so.
Come down there to Homer
It's good to see you.
Sure, I'll see you there.
It's good to meet you.
You as well. Thank you.
I'll find you. If you find me, we'll walk together.
Good people.
I would like to see kids out there. Any programs, please. I want to make sure that as you bring on the post and
All right. Moving on to old business. Final approval of temporary assistance to needy families. The TANF elected county plan for Macon County Department of Social Services. Patrick Betancourt, DSS Director. Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you, Mr.
for
Chairman.
serving on the other board as well.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Beal. Appreciate that.
We can't double it? Go ahead.
So you'll remember that last month, this board unanimously voted to approve Macon County to continue as an electing county status for federal fiscal year planning 2023-2026. Our electing county plan was updated and revised, and a meeting with the Welfare Reform Committee that was also appointed last month by this board was held on Tuesday, October 26th. The committee reviewed the updated and revised plan and provided feedback to that plan. We also had a public comment period that ran from October 15th through October 21st with public service announcements requesting the public's input into the updated and revised plan. So just as a reminder, TANF electing counties are granted the ability to develop and implement additional state requirements on TANF applications and recipients that require documented work accountability and demonstrated progress towards self-sufficiency before they can receive any kind of financial assistance. It's a pay after performance model. In exchange for managing the TANF electing requirements as well as all the state requirements, Macon County is allowed to utilize any existing supplemental allocation that is unused and to divert that into our child welfare system or assisting TANF families with outstanding emergencies. Over the 24 years that we've been involved, again, just a reminder that Macon County has offset about $5.5 million through our participation, of county dollars, through our participation in this electing county plan. And so at this time, what I would ask for is a vote to approve Macon County's TANF electing county plan for federal fiscal year 2023-26, and then I'll submit that to DHHS for their feedback and hopefully get that in before I'll certainly get it in before
I'd like to make that motion, we approve the TANF plan as presented, and to show you how important that it is, especially for county. If you've been keeping up with the news, our friends down in Mississippi will tell you just how important it is. Green Bay Packer ex-quarterback's coughing up $800,000. So you got to keep up. There's going to be some, and so our county, by being an elected county, we're way out in front of a lot of things. So thank you, Mr. Betancourt, and I'll make that as a motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bill, second by Commissioner Shields. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Consideration of change order number 12 on Macon Middle School renovation project. Jack Morgan, Planning, Permitting, and Development Director. Welcome, Jack.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are y'all?
Good.
Here is a updated change order that we adjusted the numbers a little bit from the first one you got down $2,000. So don't get to do that often, do we, Paul? Anyway, this one's fairly simple. What the change order involves, as y'all know, we're trying to upgrade the security there, and the way we're doing that is trying to get rid of some of the means to enter the building. The music room has 3 entrance doors into it. We did away with one of them directly to the outside and made it just purely an egress and fire exit. But when we took the outside hardwire off that door, it was rusted through, so we're going to have to replace that metal door. Additional waterproofing and caulking outside the music room. If anyone's familiar with that situation, the water had been coming through that wall for quite some time. We dug down in there and found the waterproofing to be pretty much non-existent. We had to put new up. The drain itself was pretty odd because it had a step-down footing, and then it stepped back up, and the drain followed that. It went down, went back up, so you know what it was doing. It was nothing. And also the gutter downspout dumped into that hole too. So we corrected all of that. It took some extra work, but that's part of the change order. We got a credit for some masonry shoring we didn't need. The school wanted 12 additional master keys and 12 great grand master keys. Had to pay for that. Changed the layout in the vaulted mezzanine ceiling. If y'all are familiar with that, it's a hip roof, got 4 different angles on it. Well, the way the plan showed that laid out was to start, Mr. Beagle, you can join in here and help me describe it better, but start out with a margin on this end, the same as that end. But when we did that, the grid looked crazy. So we had to straighten it up, and that was an additional change order. That was not part of it. They already had it up before we got to it. In the northeast wing, the wing we're working in now, the 2 big tall windows, y'all remember those big 2 tall windows that look out over the back there? There's a steel beam across that supporting part of the roof structure. Well, both ends of that, where the concrete blocks went up, were supposed to be poured solid. Well, they weren't. They were hollow. One of them had cracked from the top to the bottom, and when we took the window out, the window was holding the block up rather than the block holding the window in. So we had to replace that block and pour those cells. That's part of the additional change order. And there were some conflicts between what was on the demolition plan and the renovation plan. And that's part of these adjustments too. And what that amounts to is some of the closets and smaller rooms, they had the wrong ceiling finish to go back in there. And it said to demolish some of them, and they were drywall. So we didn't want to demolish the drywall, we just repainted it rather than tear it out and put a drop ceiling in it for no good reason. That's what this is about.
Liaisons, any comments or make a motion to approve the change order?
I mean, I think we're this far in, and I think they're necessary. Jack, appreciate you sticking around an hour and a half to present this.
All right.
So I'll make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Young, second by Commissioner Shields. All in favor? Aye.
And we also need to approve the appropriate budget amendment of $12,024 from the project contingency.
Make that part of your motion. Yes. Yes, everybody? Yes, unanimous.
After that change order, the project contingency is now at $461,520.
Got a question for you, Jack.
Yes, sir.
Different subject. Annahala, that building, I noticed on the scope of work, closing in that fireplace.
Yeah, it's leaking down in it.
Is it what's making it leak in it?
Well, we're not really torn into it to see, but it's going to create a problem. And plus, I'm not sure that we want to leave some place for somebody to build a fire over there in that public building.
Yeah, because I don't know how, I mean, it's a great fireplace.
It's beautiful, but if you look, it's leaking up on the left-hand corner
Yeah.
up there. I don't think it's a roof issue because the roof looks good, so it must be coming down through the masonry. So we'd like to close it off and cap it off. Would be my recommendation.
You'll get a little discussion, I mean, but
Yep.
they're a good community, you know,
Yep.
I saw that and wanted to question you. Thank you.
Yep.
And thank you for getting ready to work on that.
All right, moving on to new business, item 11B, consideration of resolution concerning compensation for incoming sheriff and register of deeds. Mr. Manager.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. As we had found during our work on the pay plan, it is going to be required when the elected offices of the sheriff and the register of deeds, we will need to pass this resolution so that the incoming sheriff and the incoming register of deeds can be placed in the appropriate grade as on the revised pay plan. And that resolution allows us to accomplish this for both offices. In the absence of this, you could have an incoming newly elected sheriff or register of deeds. In the absence of approving this resolution, they would have to come in and be at the same rate of pay as the outgoing sheriff or register of deeds. We know the sheriff's going to be outgoing, of course. There is going to be, the register of deeds election will be held, and should the incumbent officer get beat, had we not approved this, then any newcomer would have to go to the salary that they left at. So what this resolution does is it will place the non-incumbent sheriff at the newly revised pay grade of a grade 40. That starting salary would be at $71,874. Should the winner of that election be an employee of the office and have time served in Macon County prior to their being elected, they will be credited for their time served, applying the formula that was applied consistently during the pay plan for every other position. So they will get treated and adequately compensated for their time served. Should that be the case, same thing with the Register of Deeds. They will go into the newly revised Register of Deeds pay grade, which is a minimum salary of $48,647. Should someone else be elected there, if the incumbent wins again, there will be no change. But this resolution states all that. And with that being said, Mr. Chairman, our attorney has drafted it, and I would recommend that the board adopt it.
We get a motion to approve the resolution?
What about the clerk of court? I mean, I realize that
They're not in our pay grade. They're not in our pay system. State employee.
Make a motion to accept.
Got a motion by Commissioner Shields to approve the resolution, second by Commissioner Bill. All in favor? Aye. All right, consideration of approval of revised Form 3-1 for Southwestern Community College Fire Rescue Training Center.
Yes,
Mr. Manager.
Happy to have Dr. Don Thomas, Mr. William Brothers, and Mr. Curtis Dowdle with us here tonight. And as you'll recall, we have discussed this for quite some time. Originally, when this project started out in 2018, we were going to have a new facility on Siler Road. Since then, as we all know, we have transferred to the Armory. They have explored and found a modular facility to place in the or to put there to replace our current burn building that is at the industrial park. So with that being said, the reason that we had this change is we had wanted the new cost of the 3-1, which went to the state, and Dr. Thomas can certainly talk about, we wanted it to reflect the project cost at the new location with the new facility type that we got there. So what this 3-1 is going to do, if you'll recall, the original 3-1 called for a county appropriation of around $1.3 million. And that was at the Siler Road facility.
And that was approved.
And that was approved. So when we changed locations, a new 3-1 was developed. We worked with the community college. They sent down to the state, once we finalized that lease, to allow them to locate there. They were able to then render the services of an architect who came up with a revised figure to locate the modular facility at the new adjacent to the Armory building. There is going to be a cost of $700,000 as opposed to the 1.3 that we had appropriated originally. And in addition to that $700,000, another part of that 3-1 is the operating cost of $69,991 and some cents per year. Lori doesn't like to do cents, so $69,992. So that would make the total appropriation that we need to move this forward and get this 3-1 sent back to the state for approval to be $769,992.
So Derek, just help me from a recollection standpoint, we approved the 1.3. Since that didn't happen, that money went back into fund balance. So approve, if we approve
then it
this tonight,
lapsed.
then we need to pull it back out of fund
Right.
balance.
And when that
Tonight.
budget year ended, the money that we had previously appropriated lapsed. So we're starting all over again. So it would be an appropriation now of $769,992 from fund balance. And I wish I could get my kids to shake their heads yes whenever I say that. That's pretty, but yes, and they certainly, Dr. Thomas, he can certainly speak to anything I've left out, or Mr. Brothers.
No, you hit all the key points, Mr. Rowland, and the 69,000 and some odd change, that was approved also back in 18 as part of the operating costs.
Right, and in some conversations that I had with Mr. Brothers leading up to this, that's going to be, part of that actually includes a maintenance slash custodial position that's going to help not only with the new fire safety facility, but the armory facility as well when that comes online. And that's going to be, a tremendous asset to them as well as a tremendous asset to us, because it's going to alleviate some burden on our maintenance staff. So I think that's a win-win for both parties in this situation. And of course, of this $700,000, if that project comes in under budget, or some of the county funds remain unspent following the completion of this, getting this facility, the modular burn building facility set up, then those funds will revert back to the county, and we can put those towards renovation cost at the National Guard Armory.
I don't see contingency on here no more. Am I overlooking it?
Yeah, it is included on there. Construction contingency is.
What line is that on?
It is on page 2, under pre-construction cost. It would be B2, or B3, construction contingency, 184. And again, that originally was a $1.3 million appropriation, that once we made those adjustments and took another look at that, 700, got it down to county contribution of 700,000.
Josh, the rest of us have been sitting through this for several years as we've been through this, so if you have any questions. So, because we've been through it all. We've had numerous meetings at various locations, and we've been.
I mean, I've done a little due diligence. I spoke with Dr. Thomas and Derek briefly about it, and I've kind of, I'm good with it.
Mine as well, so.
I'd like to make a motion as SEC trustee that we approve as presented, the three
All right,
cash warrants.
we have a motion by Commissioner Shields with the money coming from contingency.
Yes, in the amount of $769,992.
Sorry,
from
fund balance.
From
I'm
fund
sorry.
balance.
Correct. Fund balance, I'm sorry, my mistake, from fund balance. We got a motion by Commissioner Shields, second by Commissioner Young. Any further questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Raise your hand. Aye. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you. You got the original?
Yes, sir.
President Stice said hello. We met with him for 3 days.
Who?
Thomas, Thomas, your president.
Yeah.
We met for 3 days in Greensboro.
Good.
Pretty good guy.
He's a very good guy.
I got to know him well when he was chief of staff for Governor McCoy.
Oh, did you? Right.
You're going to take this to your board tomorrow
If
night, is
it's-
that right?
Yes, if it's signed by, I think, your signature,
And then you'll send us the
and then we'll
fully
make
executed.
duplicate, we'll make 2 originals and get you one back. Or
I mean,
we'll
next
make copies.
Tuesday night, all right, next Tuesday night,
That's correct.
not tomorrow night.
Right.
Okay.
Next
okay.
Tuesday night.
Next Tuesday, so we got,
Let me go ahead and sign it.
You got a little time.
I don't want to miss, it might save me a trip down the hill. Not a trustee. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
In Raleigh with Stiff?
Huh?
Is that where you were in Raleigh with Stiff?
No, we met in Greensboro and in Winston-Salem.
Oh, good.
Nice guy.
He is. Lot to learn.
Oh, yeah.
That understands a lot.
He's coming this way.
Hmm?
He was out this way.
He was. He visited the college in August.
Yeah,
We're gonna
he
welcome
was in
back.
Cherokee County there 2 months ago.
Okay.
Can we get a motion to approve the, thank you. Can we get a motion to approve a public hearing to restate our flood ordinance, amend and restate our flood ordinance and our high impact ordinance at our December,
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
what's that, let me set that date.
I don't know, that's when you break this.
Was it going to be December?
December the 14th.
December the 14th. Got a motion by Commissioner Bill, second by Commissioner Shields. All in favor? Aye. All right. And Derek, give us a little more information on the cell phone tower, or the towers, again, the public hearings on those.
That is simply going to be nothing substantive. It is simply going to be bringing those into compliance. Those are I think, no, we got a few more, bringing all of our land use ordinances in compliance with 160D.
We just did that. This will be on the towers. You said we had applications for,
There's two applications. The county has a communication site in Cowie Bald. We sublease space at
To the
that site
radio.
to the two radio
Okay.
stations, Sutton Broadcasting and Blue Ridge Broadcasting.
can we get a motion to approve to set a public hearing to discuss those contracts? I presume is what we're discussing.
Same as the last motion.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Bill, second by Commissioner Shields, all in favor? Aye. All right, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda unless someone would like something removed? Got a motion by Commissioner Young, second by Commissioner Shields, all in favor?
Aye.
I believe recreation appointments have been pulled, and we've already done Vaya. Can we get a motion to go into closed session, reference attorney-client privilege, and I believe our attorney will be speaking to us.
He'll be
via phone.
joining us by cell phone.
We got a motion by Commissioner Young, second by Commissioner Shields, all in favor. Are we, Mr. Manager, are we expecting any action following this meeting?
No.
No action. So we will come out of that and adjourn, correct?
Yes, sir.